Opposition leader Anthony Albanese has emphasised the NRL season will only go ahead if health authorities give it the green light. NRL heads are hoping the season will resume as early as the 28th of May, but there is still no clarity on what the competition will look like on return. Mr Albanese said he welcomed preparations, but the final go-ahead must be given by authorities while social distancing measures are in place.
To be very clear, the priority has to be health, and it would be bad if we sent the wrong messages by trying to have rugby league games played at a time whereby we were still telling people they needed to isolate.
The NRL 2020 season was suspended almost 10 weeks ago due to the COVID-19 pandemic. League bosses say they will be flexible and work alongside government restrictions. Let's bring in our sports commentator Jaslyn Hewitt with more on this. So yes, mixed emotions, Jaslyn. I do remember the last games that were played. The cameramen there were having to pick up the ball, which was cleaned every 10 minutes. What are you hearing in terms of the May 28 proposal for the NRL to go ahead?
Yes, it's a very interesting time to see what's actually going to happen with the NRL. We've got on one hand Peter V'landys saying he's got written approval from government authorities saying that they can go ahead. You also got to look at the well-being of the athletes as well, and a lot of these players aren't on the multi-million-dollar contracts that we may suspect a lot of them be on. So you've got the main breadwinner in a family that, given an athlete's career and how much they have to train, usually their partners are not always working, so you've got a lot of players on a one salary income that are definitely keen to get back out there, and I think you could see that from the reports of all the players on their Instagram and their Twitter accounts when that news was released last week.
And they don't necessarily have a very long career in terms of their age and fitness levels either, do they?
No, it's like any athlete. You've got about a 10 to 15 year window if you're lucky, and that's given that you're injury free during that period. And the high demands of any sport, especially if you're looking at the hits and knocks that a rugby league or any footballer is taking, probably the main thing is why they're giving such a long-term notice. We've got another 7 weeks before they're planning on having the game be held again, hopefully. It will then get their fitness level and hopefully have them match ready. Having the last 3-4 weeks off, without the training and the competitive matches, athletes' bodies aren't ready, and that's when they'll be more susceptible for injury.
It'll be very interesting to see over the next few weeks. Jaslyn, also a lot of other sport is being cancelled, of course, due to COVID-19. However, there are some exceptions, including tennis and national rules.
Yeah, so tennis and golf at the moment. So if you want to go and get your exercise, you've got to meet all the guidelines and only have 2 tennis players on the tennis court at once. And we're always mindful of how much contamination and touching of the tennis balls is going ahead. But at least now players and as well as the public can get on a tennis court and a golf course and continue to play the sport that they love for their mental health and their well-being. Every state is different, and it's just making sure that you know what your state is offering and what you can do to meet the government guidelines.
We've obviously been hearing, Jaslyn, over the past few months, so many major events, the Tokyo Olympics being, well, cancelled, postponed. Wimbledon was huge news recently about being cancelled, but the French Open has been postponed.
Yeah, they're saying it's postponed and having renegotiations. They came out 2 or 3 weeks ago now and announced that they were going to push back the French Open to after the US Open, which is late September. The only problem with that is it was going to clash with the Laver Cup. So your high-profile players like Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, Nick Kyrgios, they've all played Laver Cup in the past, and that's probably why the French Federation have done a backflip now and actually in negotiations with the ATP, WTA and ITF instead of making the decision on their own.
It's been amazing, Jaslyn, to see on social media and on all platforms just how they're keeping busy, fit, and also how they're giving back. Nick Kyrgios, you mentioned as well, he was fantastic with his aces for the bushfire appeal, and now he's getting on board doing some more initiatives. Also, Roger Federer, I've been watching his Twitter feed, giving feedback on people playing tennis at home.
Yeah, so there's a lot of volleyball challenges going out there, which Tennis Australia are promoting as well. You've had Bear Grylls playing touch tennis, and Roger Federer actually giving him some tips on when he needs to split step and come forward and move into net. So everyone's doing their own thing to keep morales high and keep the communication and tennis at the forefront of the game. It's more the social connection for all the players to continue to, when we get through this, that they'll come out better on the other side.
And you've got a lot of talent in your household. You've also got two little ones, obviously with the homeschooling, keeping busy at home. How are you coping?
Yeah, we are managing. Like any family, it's you're thrown into a complete different world where parents are usually off at work and not actually helping as teachers themselves. So it's trying to find that balance, and yeah, a lot more home cooked meals, unfortunately. So that's one area I'm really struggling with.
Well, it doesn't look like it on social media. It looks like you're doing a tremendous job. But thank you so much for your expertise, Jaslyn. You stay safe, you and your family, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon here on Sky News.
Thanks, Janie.